All right, guys. So, welcome to our call tonight. This is something that I'm just going to call like Emerald University. It's really basic information, but I understand that this is going to be very new to some people. So, don't get overwhelmed with it. We'll chat about it after. I know we're doing like an in the year Emerald little push thread. If you're not in there and you want to be in there, let us know. We started it yesterday, and we're going to have some prizes for people that go Emerald while we work through this. Our last day for it will be, I think, Christmas Eve. So it was like a 10-day little chat thread, basically. So you've still got time to jump in if you're not in it yet. But basically, we wanted to help anyone who had the goal to hit the first rank in their business, or maybe go Emerald again if you've already gone Emerald, do that before the end of the year so you can create some momentum for yourself for 2020. And this is the time, really, like if you think about what's to come, it's the huge rush of people who want to work on fitness and health goals. So this is the time to invite people to join your team if they have any interest in health and fitness, or they have any interest in maybe earning some extra income for their family. This is like the perfect time to get them in, because then they're set up with their business essentially, and they've already started working on themselves when the new year rush comes in. I don't know if you've seen, but we have, of course, Bar Blend. They moved up the release date now to January 3rd, which is kind of random. It's a Friday. So I think what we've decided is that we will actually kick off that group on January 1st and then start workouts on the 6th to keep momentum going. But what we'll do is if anybody wants to do a 3-day refresh on the 1st, like use that as a way to get them started, or maybe even the 2nd for that first weekend, and then the workouts will start on the 6th. So there will be that group for those of you who want to do Bar Blend, and then there will be kind of like a generic challenge group. And Stacy and I were chatting about this today. We want to find some way to keep engagement going in those. So I think we're going to not do a complete year group like we did this year, and maybe do some sort of like quarterly push to add new people and start new groups each quarter. Or maybe we'll do like a 6 or 8 week schedule, something just to keep people a little more engaged. So if you have any feedback or suggestions on that, definitely tell us to like what you like, because I think honestly, it's a lot to run them. It's a lot to check into them. I get that. I just think though, like we have to keep engagement up. So focus on the groups that pertain to the program that you're doing. Don't feel like you have to be a part of everything, but if you have suggestions or feedback on any of them, definitely give it to us, because I think the goal for me would be to make it more exciting again. And ultimately, the easiest way to invite to coaching is to have challengers come in, fall in love with the process of what they're doing, and then you can easily invite them to join your team. And that's kind of what we want to get back to. So just keep that in mind if you want to think about some things that you like, or that maybe appealed to you when you first started, or that you'd like to see more of. That would be really helpful. So basically, this call should technically be like your second call as a new coach. The first one is really talking about what your goals in the business are, what your why is, what your long-term vision is. Like you kind of have to have a pain point to want to show up and work your business. If you don't, if there's not like that financial need, or that health need, or that, like changing your family's future need, the excitement is really hard to keep up, because you are a business person, you're an entrepreneur, you're a CEO of your own business. Like we can host all the accountability groups in the world, but you still have to make yourself show up. So the first call that we would typically have, and I just want to say this for those of you maybe who haven't gone through this yet, if you're newer, is just talking to you about that. Like, what's your life vision? Like, what hurts in your life right now? Where do you want to see improvement? Like for me, it was really just working constantly, feeling tired constantly, and seeing like a mound of student loan debt and not knowing how I would ever be able to tackle it. And this helped so many things, because it helped my energy levels. It helped me be more positive. It helped me like kind of just want to set new goals for life when I got in this place of neutral. So I want you to think about some of those things. We haven't really tackled that yet for some of you, but that's a really important piece to this. And it's something that's going to, I think, fuel you on days where you really just don't want to do it. Like this season is crazy. It's hard to show up. You got to think about like the bigger picture. And it was explained to me this way, like, you can take days off, but like if you look back at the end of the year and you've taken half the year off, did you get the results that you like put the effort in for? You probably did, right? So you can only get like fired up at yourself to make yourself show up for this. So I think having a big why is really important. And then the next step is like, there's just 4 basic things that you hear constantly in Beachbody land that you should do as a coach. And they're basically called vital behaviors. But the first one is focusing on your journey. And if you're brand new, sometimes like launching the business side of things is really hard because you don't have that sort of like transformation, or your heart's not necessarily maybe moved by it yet, or you haven't had that sort of like physical transformation you're looking for. But just showing up and doing the behaviors and sharing it sets a good foundation for a business. So kind of just being a product of the product is what Beachbody calls it, but like doing your workouts each day, like using the performance line or Shakeology, and then basically checking into challenge groups and like showing that you're doing the things. And if you do that, honestly, as like a newer coach, you start to see a change in yourself, and you start to see a change in your positivity, and you start to see a change in your energy levels. You start to connect with the ladies in our groups, and it makes you want to share it more. So that's a huge piece of this. And then the next thing is doing personal development. And I honestly think this is the part that's changed me the most. It's literally just listening or reading something, positive each day. It could be a podcast, it could be a devotion, it could be a YouTube training, it could be the National Wake Up Call the Beachbody has. But getting your mind in the right place to kind of sit down and do the hard things and messaging people and putting yourself out there is really key, because you have to kind of build your own confidence to do it. And personal development is a huge, huge piece of that. Then the next thing is inviting. This is the big scary part that we're kind of going to tackle on the call tonight, but like basically just asking people to join you. That's the hardest part. But if you do it and you get rejected, it gets a lot easier. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get no's. You're going to get ghosted. But then you'll get some yeses too. And that's the part that you kind of have to fixate on. Like, I'm putting myself out there and people are now responding. And that's really empowering, because then you'll start to see people transform. And then you'll start to see people who maybe have their life like completely altered by this. Not everybody, of course, but those people that have the transformations are like the ones that kind of fuel you to keep going. So you do have to invite, which is of course a difficult thing, but it's very rewarding if you do it consistently. And then the next thing is recognition. So that's just like shouting people out whenever you see somebody that's just like kicking ass in a challenge group. Or maybe it's like, uplifting someone on a post. Like, I always encourage us to follow each other on social media so we can give each other that support. We don't always see things in challenge groups now, especially with the way Facebook is. But, recognizing someone and their efforts on a post, or maybe you have a challenger who's done something really good and recognizing them. So those are kind of like the 4 basics of coaching. You don't have to tackle them all right now. I would just suggest, honestly, focusing on your own journey first. And then the personal development piece, I think, is huge, because you have to amp yourself up to sit down and like reach out to random people on the internet. After a while, it starts to not really faze you and people are like, leave me alone or no. But in the beginning, it hurts. I'm like 4 years in, so I'm pretty numb to it, but I have obviously heard my fair share of like, just, people getting upset by it. And it really reflects on you like none. Don't take it personally. Don't let it affect your self-worth. It is literally just somebody else saying how they feel. It has nothing to do with you. It just sometimes does not come across the right way. So just be prepared. And I think like equipping yourself with a physical transformation with this and the mental transformation with this is the biggest part. So the next part is like, what is actually Emerald? You hear all these like, Emerald and Success Club and Diamond and Superstar Diamond, or all this stuff within Beachbody. And honestly, you guys, like, some people don't even know what that is, and they see major success in this business. You don't have to focus on this stuff. It's just like they try to break it down for you to show you, here's how you can see success in this. You work on yourself, you see a transformation, you share it with other people, you add coaches to your team and challengers to your challenge group, and that's how you grow. So Emerald basically just means that you've added 2 coaches to your team. And what you often hear is that it's a decision. And I think it ultimately is. I just think a lot of people overthink the decision. So I was told when I first started, you need to go Emerald in your first month and you need to hit Success Club. So I did it. I have a lot of people though that I tell this to and they overthink it. And they're like, but like, I don't really know anybody that wants to coach me, or, but I don't really feel comfortable signing my spouse, or I can't talk to that person about that because they intimidate me. And ultimately you're starting a business, and it's a very cheap business to start. So you don't take it as seriously, but think about like, if you started your own business and you got your business license and you paid, $50,000 for the lease, you go out of your way to ask people to come to your business. It's the same thing. It's a very low threshold to get started. So don't overthink it. Yeah, people have preconceived notions about Beachbody, but you're not selling Beachbody. You're saying, I'm starting this coaching business. I'm excited about my transformation or my groups that I'm going to be running and my team that I'm going to grow. And you're somebody that I want to join me in this. It doesn't have to be about a weight loss thing or, like ditching whatever sort of like routine they have now. But honestly, there's a lot of strategic ways to approach people with this. And I think it just comes down to like letting go of all the objections for them and just starting to ask. So Emerald is a decision because you basically just start asking people, right? Or you sign a spouse or a family member, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I would just suggest, because it is the foundation of your business, that you make your first 2 coaches people that you have a trust in and people that trust in you. For your spouse, it just makes sense from an income perspective, and I'll talk about that. But I would make those people that like, 1, you want to grow a team with, or 2, that you just know like, okay, I can trust them. They can trust me. I want them to know that like, I want them to be a part of my business. So I think just deciding to do it is a really big deal, and stepping outside of your comfort zone and asking. Really, you guys, like Emerald, a lot of people get there and they just stay there. It's just a stepping stone though. Like where you see massive income growth is really like 2-star diamond with Beachbody, but you have to go Emerald essentially like 4 times in your first business center. And then you have to help somebody else do that, and you have to help somebody else do that. So like, this is just the first step, but don't let that overwhelm you or scare you. It becomes easier the more you do it. Like if I sat down and put my mind to it now, I could make, like I made my second business center go diamond in like half the time of my first business center, because I made it less scary in my head and I just kept doing the behaviors over and over again. So Emerald becomes the same way. And the goal really eventually is to go Emerald once a month in your business if you can. I kind of like, I said this on the last Emerald training I did, which has been a while, but like, think about it like this. Like if you get into a car and you put the key in the ignition and you start it, that's like going Emerald. But then when you actually start moving the car, that's like going diamond and beyond. So like, it's not going to be like miraculously transformative to your income or your business right away, but it's the first step to get you there. So I want to share the presentation that I put together for it, because I know some people are like more visual and it helps break it down a little bit easier. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Sorry, I was like looking at a way to adopt a kid via the USPS, because you can actually like find a kid who wrote a letter to Santa and adopt them. And some of these kids want iPhones, like iPads. And I was like, I don't know that I can afford these people. But that's what I was doing before the call. I get it. I would want all those things too. All right. So this is a really basic presentation, but maybe the visual will help some of you guys. Again, it's just called Emerald University, and I think I've already saved this in the team page a couple months ago, but here it is again. Sorry, let me minimize this. Okay, so why go Emerald? So some of you are listening to this and you're like, I just started this thing, like you're talking to me about adding coaches. I don't even know how to coach myself. Don't worry, you don't have to really know all the things. Like that's why we are all here as a team. That's why you have a coach and your coach has a coach, and we do things as a team, which is really helpful. But Emerald has a lot of benefits. So one, I just talked about, it's a stepping stone. Really, it's just the foundation to start growing your team. It honestly is very empowering whenever you get there, because you can actually say, I have a team. So then when you invite more people to join you, you can say, hey, I'm growing a team. My team is doing this. And it's an empowering thing to put yourself out there. I know that some of this is like, well, but I don't have like a team that's really doing that much. Well, that's you like inserting your limiting beliefs already. Like if you're talking to somebody new, you're going to say like, I've got this team I'm growing and I really think you'd be an amazing part of it. And they don't have to know that like they're maybe your first active coach. Like if you have a foundation of an Emerald team built up, you have a team. So it does give you the ability to say you're building a team. It also gives you some credibility. You have basically duplicated yourself in this business, and you have figured out how to rank advance, because that's what they basically call it in Beachbody land. And you have added a couple of coaches to your team. When you get to Emerald, probably the biggest incentive really from a financial perspective And it's not immediate and it's not drastic, but you can start to earn team cycle bonuses. So when you are a coach, you can earn income one way, and that is commission. You can earn commission from any products that you sell. You can earn commission from any Beachbody On Demand subscriptions. You can earn commission from like somebody doing a cleanse, like anything that is in the Beachbody store, you can earn commission from. But when you add 2 coaches to your team, you can start to earn team income. And basically, it just means that you can earn bonuses based on the purchases and sales of the coaches that are on your team, and even customers that they add, or coaches that they add, or maybe coaches that are added beneath you by coaches above you. So it's not a pyramid scheme, you guys. It's just a multi-level setup. A pyramid scheme is illegal, but the way network marketing works is that you can have a multi-level business and your coach can add coaches below you. It doesn't mean they're your actual coaches, but it means you can benefit from them via team cycle bonuses. And then the other really big benefit that I think, these days with Beachbody, it's not as big from an income perspective, but it's big from like an information and, connection with new customers perspective, is that if you're an Emerald coach and you're helping at least 3 customers a month and hitting what Beachbody calls Success Club, you can get customer leads. Now, this used to be a really profitable thing. Like if you hit Success Club 10, you'd get paid leads for free. And that means that like if someone bought a Beachbody On Demand subscription, you'd get commission from that and you never even had to talk to the person. And then if you hit Success Club 5, you would just get the information of the person. You don't see as much income now from like the Success Club 10 achievement, but you still get several names per month of people, like Ashley just mentioned on our thread for the Emerald by the end of the year. Like she just got a free lead. They signed up for a year of Beachbody On Demand. She reached out to them. She talked to them about a challenge pack, upgraded them to the challenge pack. Now she gets commission from that person, and she gets to add them to the challenge group and maybe keeps them, as an ongoing customer with ongoing income from that person, or maybe they become a coach on our team. You just never know. Ashley was one of my leads. And I don't know if I earned any income when she got placed under me as a lead, and I don't know if I earned any income maybe for months, but I connected with her and we just kept chatting, and now she's a coach on our team and she's adding other coaches, and it's been a really big blessing for her and me because we've become really great friends. So it's a cool thing. Not everybody's a winner from this, not everybody responds to you from this, but you get some really great people who need your guidance and need your help, and that's a very empowering thing as well. So you get customers added to you, and now that Beachbody is in Canada and the UK and France, I believe launched or is launching, I can't remember the exact date. You can actually obtain international leads as well, and that can help you grow your team and your customer base internationally. So it's something that potentially could be really big. So being Emerald, hitting Success Club are kind of like your basic building blocks of the business. And you can continue to grow a team and hit Success Club more easily by getting these leads. So that's really an amazing benefit that Beachbody provides. Now, I just want to explain like what Emerald looks like. So you have you as a coach here, and ignore this stuff for now. But Emerald basically means you've got 1 coach on your left-hand side and 1 coach on your right-hand side. And they're coaches that are added by you. It can't be a coach that's added by someone above you. But you activate your business center essentially by getting a coach on your right leg and getting a coach on your left leg. And that's something that means that you basically have now activated, we call it activating your business center, because once you get a coach on both sides, your business is like open, like you're not just a coach anymore. You got your team, you got team cycle bonuses that you can qualify for, and you have a base for your business essentially. A controlled business center is a strange term, but it's something that's used in Beachbody land and in network marketing. But it's basically another coach on your team that has a business that you can control. And you can't do this with everyone. It's very specific in Beachbody world. It's either a spouse or a parent or a child that's over the age of 18. And the benefit to having at least one of these coaches that's on your team be a controlled business center is that you can essentially grow that person, but you can also double dip into the compensation plan as you add coaches below them. They will actually help you earn increased income, and then they will earn increased income themselves if you eventually get them to Emerald also. This is where it gets really confusing, you guys, but just know that if you have Controlled Business Center as part of your Emerald team base, it really helps long-term with creating multiple layers of income, and it allows you to double dip into Beachbody's compensation plan. Basically, when you get to Emerald by adding a coach here, every time either $100 is spent by a coach or sold by a coach on one side and $200 is spent or sold by a coach on the other side, you earn $14. So that's what the team cycle bonus is. It means that you're earning cycles for every like accrual of income beneath you on these sides. And they can add their own coaches and they can add their own customers, and you can earn those bonuses based upon that. So that's where it gets a little confusing. And in the beginning, that $14 might come once a month, and then it might start to come once a week, and then it's going to start to come twice a week, and then it's going to be like, I think sometimes now I'll get like 10 cycles in a week, and it accrues. Like, it doesn't just wash out. Like, it's like a bank that you have. So when this side catches up to this side, you might see that it is accruing more quickly. So that's confusing, but long term, this is really where the bulk of income can come from in a network marketing business. And that's why getting to Emerald is just the first step, but like growing beyond that is huge, because then you start to see that your income can grow. And if you have this person set up as your spouse, or this person set up as your spouse or parent, it's really beneficial for them as well, because they can earn income from it. You can have them earning customer leads. You can actually be running customers through them instead of through you. And you can collect the commission because it's your spouse or significant other. And then you can get a bonus from that customer that you've run through this account. So it actually lets you grow your income for the same customer if you run them through that account as well. So it's confusing, it's a lot, but just know that over time, if you don't put somebody there that might be, somebody that is like, very close to you in your life, like the parent or the spouse, you could potentially be missing out on some income in the long run. And I'll show you kind of what Colin's has been. So for me, like, this is my mom and this is Colin in my business. And, at the time it was a trust fall, of course, to sign my husband as a coach here. But I think it made me work harder, if I'm being honest, because I knew I signed him there and I needed to bust my butt to like make sure that whatever I was spending in terms of like just even a business fee, I was earning that back. And then it also made me kind of more strategically work Beachbody's compensation plan. Like, if it's just me and I don't have anybody that I control here, I'm only getting to dip into it once. But when you start adding people that it's a Controlled Business Center, you start being more strategic about where you're running customers, where you're placing coaches to make sure you can maximize the compensation plan more. So that was kind of my real talk about signing your spouse. That's a scary thing. It's a trust fall thing. You, of course, just sign yourself, and then you're being told like, oh, sign your spouse. No, sorry, just spent $150 on myself. Why am I doing that? But in reality, if you sign your spouse, or if your parent, I would suggest maybe having them sign themselves, like I did that with my mom. You're actually getting commission back from that. So like if somebody signs up with a $150 challenge pack, you're obviously getting $50 back. So it's basically like a $100 decision. They get their coach fee waived. If you're military, one of you can actually get your business fees waived. Any business fees are tax deductions. But then you also get 2 Success Club points from signing your spouse, or whatever the Controlled Business Center relationship is. And that is your first customer towards the 3 that you want to sign in your first month to help you get Success Club. So there's a lot of benefits to it. You get obviously the points, you get the commission back, and you, if you work this business really strategically, you can sign that person with, say, like packets of Shakeology. You could sell the Shakeology to do Shakeology challenges. If you decide for you, like, I want to do Shakeology and Energize and Recover, what I would do is have the Shakeology through my account and then Energize and Recover through their account. So then whenever you are ordering those additional products, you're at least cycling on it. So that kind of cuts down on your cost of those additional products. And then, of course, like I talked about, the strategic ways of like adding customers to them versus you is really great, because that means that you can increase your income versus just signing customers through you. There are other considerations, like if you want to go on the Success Club trip, or if you want the recognition for yourself. But I kind of just check in with my coaches when I am talking to them about these things. And if their goal is complete income growth, what I say is you sign yourself, sign your spouse, run every customer order you have through your spouse, and you're going to start to see the cycle bonuses accrue more quickly, and it gives you more income growth that way. So I want to show you just really quickly, in case you don't know how to use, I guess I should continue sharing my screen, the Coach Online Office, the share cart, sorry. I want to show you how to do it in case you decide like, okay, I want to go and maybe sign up a spouse or a significant other this way. But basically, if you haven't used ShareCart yet, it's really, really easy. Always just Google it. And you would just use your login from your, like, same as your Beachbody On Demand or same as your teambeachbody.com. Oh, sorry. I have a couple different passwords. And you just go, you log in, and then you go new enrollment, and then you just enter in the email address of the customer you're trying to help. I'm just going to use my work email. And then you click coach. Yes, I have permission to enter this person's information. I would get permission. And then you click continue. And then you can just shop. This is how easy the share card is. Say you wanted to do bar blend. If you already have Beachbody On Demand, I probably wouldn't like enroll a spouse with Beachbody On Demand as well. I might do like a 3-day refresh or one of the nutrition plans. But doing it as a challenge pack makes a lot of sense because, one, you can send them one of your discount codes. Like, you can actually use a discount code that you've already received from Beachbody on it, since you're actually sending it to someone else technically. And then you can save $10 more with the discount code. Then you can get $50 back in commission, obviously from it being a challenge pack, but then you can also get 2 Success Club points, and it will waive the business enrollment fee. So that's kind of how you do it. Then you do send email, and then you do a checkout process. That's how easy ShareCart is. The other thing I wanted to show you while we are kind of just like having this in-depth discussion on Emerald, I have, let's see. I have in my business, just for example, I have me, then I have Colin, then I have my mom, then I have a bunch of coaches down here, and then I've signed myself again as a coach, like way down here, because I went 2-star diamond and I was able to sign myself again as a coach, which means Beachbody is letting me earn income here, here, and then way down here, and then my mom keeps her own income from Beachbody. But I can basically dip into the compensation plan 3 times now. In the beginning, when I was growing myself and I wasn't a 2-star diamond, I would run orders through Colin to have him hit Success Club and then to have me cycle more. Now I really don't do that because I have another business center, but I at least want to show you what his earnings have been over time. And I'll just give the disclaimer, like, there's no guaranteed income or success with Beachbody. It's all based on your efforts, diligence, and skill. But I just like to show like real talk, you know, because I'm just one of those people that likes to see it. If someone's telling me to, you know, sign a spouse. Oh, sorry. And I'll talk in a minute if you don't have a spouse. I know I posted a video about that already today, so I was kind of going more along this line. He has his own account. He really doesn't run it. So I would, for compliance sake, if you sign your spouse, like there's this form that you do that says you can run their account for them. But I don't really add new customers to him anymore. I do sometimes, like if I'm trying to get his rank back to a certain place. But you can see he's been a coach under me for about 4 years, and his total lifetime earnings are $25,000. Like, that is no drop in the bucket. If I would have never signed him as a coach and I just relied on my first business center, I would have missed out on $25,000. Maybe not that whole amount of earnings because some of it is customer driven, but a lot of that is team cycle bonuses. Like, you see his paycheck for this week, $98 in bonuses, and he does a little bit of retail commission. That's, I mean, like, really, he just gets team cycle bonuses because I've set him up under me and he's at least an Emerald coach. Now, if you go into his like lifetime earnings and you want to go back to the beginning, like if you want to see how this really starts as like a very little amount, like it's not like your business explodes immediately from doing this. So I just want to be very clear about that. But like when I signed him as a coach years ago, I mean, the first 2 months were zero earnings. Then I finally ran a customer through him. Then I ran 2 customers through him. So I got him to Success Club in like his second full month as a coach. And then from there, the paycheck started being a little more consistent. Of course, there's some negative ones, zero ones, but I tried strategically to start adding people to him. I didn't do it the best way. Like, I could have actually added all my people under him and earned more. But I was a little focused on recognition, if I'm being honest. But over time, the earnings, they increase and they become more consistent. And it's simply because I have put him at the top of my organization and I've added people beneath them. I'd say his earnings this year have been pretty consistent, like, $100 a week, if not a little bit more. And honestly, that's not no small amount of money. But if you didn't have him there in your organization at all, then you don't have that to take advantage of. So I just wanted to give you kind of like the reality of how it looks. I have earned, I've hit Success Club every single month in the business. So I think some people see this and are like, oh, I can do that. And then they kind of neglect the behaviors of adding at least 3 people a month. I added at least 5 people a month, I think almost every month in my business. So I think some of that is really important. And then a lot of months, I actually got him to Success Club as well. I don't really do that anymore just because I have another business center. But I think that's important to note. Like, you can't just add them and expect the money to start rolling in. So that is kind of what it looks like as a reality, of here's how it can actually look. Like, if I would have never added him, then all of that income would have, well, not all of it, but a majority of it would have not accrued because I never had him there to earn bonuses on. And then in my first business center, of course, I was earning additional bonuses based on the customers I was putting through his account. So I wanted to end this with an action plan. I'll talk a little bit more about like people that don't have that sort of person that they can put in a controlled business center. Like, if you don't have a parent that would ever sign up with you, of course, that's somebody that's totally off the list. For me, my mom does drink Shakeology. That, was something I asked her though in the beginning. I was like, why don't you just give me 30 days? I really want to grow this business. I think this could benefit you. She had a lot of dietary restrictions and some health concerns, and there's not a lot of food she can eat. And she said, okay. I said, do you mind if I sign you as a coach? Because I have this goal I want to get to. And if you decide to stick with this, you will be at the top of my organization and you'll earn, a 25% discount on the products because you're a coach. And she said, yes. She is not somebody who actively works her business, but the discount definitely benefits her. And then I have kind of added coaches underneath her that have allowed her to grow an income as well. And part of that was just my personal decision. Like, she's paid for a lot of stuff for me. So I felt like I kind of wanted to pay it forward back to her. The second controlled business center type would, of course, be your spouse. I know some spouses are unsupportive. I obviously don't want any marriages being like, impacted by this at all. It's just something that you have a conversation of, this is what I see myself doing with this. I think you have to show that you're committed and you're going to show up and you're going to put forth the effort. And if you have that conversation and they agree, like, it's a chance, right? Like, it doesn't mean you have to have that person there forever. But I think if you're serious about growing and you put that person there, it makes you kind of step up to the level of the business that you're looking to grow as well. The next thing though, it would be a child. I'm not really going to address that because I don't think really anyone has a child over the age of 18. I think it's 18. But the next thing would be like, if you don't have that person that you can sign up there, you have no doubt people in your life that you would want to be in your business. And it could be a best friend. It could be people that you're like, man, that person has just always been somebody I've looked up to in terms of health and fitness. I would sit down and think about people that are those trusted people in your life and, write down a list and make yourself invite those people on that list within the next couple of days. Your goal is obviously to get to Emerald by next week. And I think the only way to do it is just to sit down and do the scary stuff. Like for me, I had a best friend who's like newly postpartum, and I knew she kind of wanted to like branch out from her job. I knew she had somewhat of an interest in health and fitness, and I asked her if she wanted to sign up as a coach with me. Then I had some sister-in-laws that I asked. They all said no, but they all are into fitness. And I just thought, like this is a business I want to grow. I would really love it if you guys tried this stuff out. And, I've had one do a 3-day refresh, but that's about as far as that goes. Then I had some other people that I just had connected with on social media or that I had seen that were super inspiring. Some of those signed up, some of them said no, some of them have since quit. But like, honestly, you're growing your business. Like it's all trial and error in the beginning. So I would sit down and make a warm list, hot list, or dirt list. So it's all basically the same thing. And dirt list just means like if you were selling dirt, who would buy it from you? Like if like Amanda, somebody I think about this with, like she's got a lot of people in her family that she basically takes care of. And a lot of them have health issues where Shakeology can come into play, like cholesterol or blood pressure or diabetes. And they just trust her inherently. And most of those people are in her business. It doesn't mean they're going to grow like a team, but they have become like the foundation of her business and they're her dirt list. So I would encourage you today, like when we get off the call, to make a list of those people. I think they told us in the beginning, come up with 25. I don't know if you have a network that big, but like, hey, if you can sit down and set a timer for yourself and just bust out some names, that's exactly what I would do. Step 3 will be reach out to those people and ask them and say, hey, like I know the new year's about to come. I just launched this new business. May not be something that you'd be interested in, but I just at least want to invite you to join me. I'm about to start my new challenge group and I think it's going to be really fun. You want to give this a chance? And then when they say yes, if they say yes, I would ask them if they will sign up as a coach because you are working to get to the next level in your business and you want them to be able to be at the top of your organization and at least benefit from the discount if they stick with it long term. If they decide not to stick with it, they can always cancel, but it's a free sign up with their pack. That's how I would basically phrase it. And reach out to those people this week. And honestly, you guys, like you can get to Emerald in 24 hours if you really like sit down and plug it out. The next thing though is I would say be the coach you crave. Like if you want somebody who's going to show up every day and you want somebody who's going to be active in a challenge group and support you and inspire you, be that person. Like maybe you're just being that person in your stories. Maybe you're just being that person in a challenge group. But if you are like emulating the kind of coach you want, the chances that you'll attract that person even more are higher. I know it's like these kind of woo-woo things, but I promise like thinking the right thoughts, putting the right action into place to attract people that you want really gets you there so much faster. You'd be surprised. But like showing up and being that person is huge. And then number 5, I think, is just believing in yourself. Like if you want to make this work, you guys, you can make it work. There are people with no education. There are people that are bankrupt. There are people that have been incarcerated who make this work. Like they just have this fire and this fuel inside of them to change their life and to change their family's life. And they believe in themselves and they go out and they take action towards it. And I think that is honestly the key, is just kind of like showing up and owning it and saying, I'm going to make this happen. Because I promise you, if you really believe that and you do the action, it will happen for you. It is not a rocket science business. It's a business though that really requires action and belief. So that is a lot of information and I wasn't as fast as I anticipated. So I just want to say I'm sorry. But the last thing I want to say is I think it's important to take action. So we have our in the year Emerald thread, and I know we this morning asked about posting like who you're gonna invite, and I'd like to see everybody who's in that thread at least put like 3 to 5 names to start with, and maybe invite those people tonight, if not within the next 24 hours, because hopefully you're fired up after this and you will take action and you'll be more confident and you can send the scary stuff whenever you are a little bit excited. Does anybody have any questions? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.